France's new Prime Minister, Michel Barnier, has held meetings with leaders of political parties as he attempts to form a cabinet of ministers who are likely to gain a majority support in Parliament. The Conservative politician, who is the former EU Brexit negotiator, of course, started discussions with parties on the right and centre on Friday. He's expected to meet representatives from the left and the far right soon. Well, Nabila Ramdani is a French journalist and the author of Fixing France, How to Repair a Broken Republic. Nabila, thank you so much for joining us. Why do you think, then, that President Macron has chosen Michel Barnier?
Well, in my view, it was entirely predictable that Mr. Macron was going to choose a technocrat. The Prime Minister of France is nominally the head of the government, but the presidential system in France is such that, in fact, it is the president that has ultimate power, and Mr. Macron will make sure that he calls all the shots effectively. We heard Michel Barnier yesterday made his first short speech as Prime Minister of France on the steps of Matignon, which is the prime ministerial residence in Paris, and he set out his political priorities, which are very much in line with Macron's own priorities, that is to say immigration, security and the cost of living, in that order. And there is no doubt that he has a conservative vision for France. He's certainly a social conservative, and indeed has a lot of free market, liberal economic views. But that said, the priority will be to make sure that his views chime with Mr. Macron's. And unlike Mr. Macron and indeed parliamentarians in France, Mr. Barnier is not an elected politician anymore. He left the National Assembly as an MP in 1993, more than 30 years ago. And this fact alone will count against him if he tries to show off too much initiative.
Nabila, you say there that the president then holds the power ultimately, but what Michel Barnier will bring with him is experience. He is the oldest, France's oldest prime minister, isn't he? Will that help, that experience?
I think he's considered as a veteran of the right-wing Republican Party. He's certainly an experienced politician. Remember that he was the youngest MP when he started off in politics, and now he's the oldest Prime Minister. So that will certainly bring some gravitas to the position of the Prime Minister. But he still has to form a government with which he will govern, and he will make sure that the government he will be choosing will be what Mr. Macron wants. Again, the Prime Minister is nominally, the head of government, but ultimately all the power remains in the hands of the President. He will certainly be a technocratic government above all else. And in some ways, Mr. Barnier is not a political appointment. He's not a strong ideologue. He's much more likely to project himself as a pragmatic civil servant, pragmatic public civil servant. France has some huge problems right now, not least of all with overspending. And one of the priorities of the new government will be to make sure that massive cuts in public spending are prioritized, and you need realists to do that and not idealistic radicals.
Nabila, thank you very much. Yes, as the EU chief negotiator, he would have to be pragmatic, wouldn't he? So thank you very much for your expertise.